and then I'm going to start with Discord. So I'm going to share a screen. Welcome, everybody. This is your presenter or producer training for a lot of good stuff. The producers have already learned how to come into StreamYard on their own, and I'll recap that at the end for them. But this session is basically to show you how to navigate in Discord in a basic way as a presenter, know where you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to do before your presentation, and how you're going to move from Discord into StreamYard, which is what we're doing now. And I'm going to explain a little more in StreamYard for presenters than you normally would expect to get, because I want you all to have a comfort zone in what's going on and realize that this is our video studio where we all gather and show our presentations. And this tool sends your presentation direct to YouTube. So when we have attendees at the conference, there's 2 windows they're going to have open on their computer, at least, maybe 3. But the first window they're going to have open is Discord. And right now, you're looking at my personal Discord screen, okay? And we'll talk about how that's laid out. The second thing they will have open is their YouTube channel as an attendee to watch the presentation. And perhaps they'll have our mobile app open, and I'll talk about that later because they may be thinking about their schedule for the rest of the conference. Right now, we're going to talk about Discord. Now, some of the most important things with Discord are the simple things. First of all, this column shows all the servers that you have access to, and you can see I'm a glutton for punishment, and I have a lot of them. The important one is CX, that big green CX, because that's the server for this convention. The second thing that's important is this home button at the top. And that'll be important because if somebody wants to send a private message to you, like I'm going to send a private message to Mike, and I'm going to say hello, okay? And Mike should type a hello back to me. And when he types a hello back to me, it's going to appear here. This is a private little conversation. See there, he says, same to you, buddy. And if I wasn't already in that channel, there's a little red dot that'll appear here to tell me there's a conversation waiting. So by clicking on this, I see all the people I've talked to, like Wesley earlier and different people in different sessions. And then if I click on the CX, I go back to the server and can see the normal view. That's a really important thing. The second thing that's important, although we have set it up so it shouldn't do this very much, it should only do this for big announcements. If you right click, you see this button that says mute server. This works a lot like Twitter or like your phone messaging app, and it will give you a beep whenever you get a message. Now, we've suppressed most all of those, so that shouldn't happen very much. But if you start getting weird beeps on your computer or on your phone, you can come out here and mute this until you turn it back on, and it won't beep at you. That won't affect your voice. That won't affect anything else. It'll keep it from beeping at you. So the second column is also important because it's where we have text and voice channels for you to communicate with other attendees at the conference. Essentially, a text channel is just a place you type, and a voice channel is a place where you can click and you can talk to other people that join that space. It automatically connects. So for example, this section here, which I'll hit again in a minute, is the Clubhouse. We've got a whole bunch of channels with a text channel like called Leavenworth, because they're all named after cities near our sponsor. And I can go down here and I can go into the Leavenworth folder. Oh gosh, did I not build one? I might have been bad and not built it. I should fix that. So let's use Fairmont as an example, because I can go to Fairmont. Okay. So you can meet somebody in conversation or see somebody that you know, send them a message and say, meet me in Fairmont in 5 minutes. And you can talk in a semi-private way during the convention. So that's one of the important things. Now, the other thing that's useful to know is every one of these sections, you can see all the text in it, but you can also do a shortcut message to any friend that wants to see it. See where it says copy message link? If I do that and I go someplace like the text channel for Leavenworth and I type it in or paste it in, if you click on that link in Leavenworth, it will take you to the other spot I just gave to you. So that's a nice shortcut method. If you've got a friend and they say, where in the heck is that session you're in? You can go to the text channel, right click, and pick the copy message link. So The next thing I want to mention before we move further is the fact that we have a visibility on everybody that's live on the server here. And you can see their role because we have admins and directors. If you click on their name, you can send them a private message. You click back on the server, you come back to the home place you were before. So now the next thing I'm going to do is give you a general tour of the server, and we're still under construction because we're getting smarter as we go. It's part of what I call our just-in-time delivery system. Because we found a mobile developer and somebody more skilled in Discord than me, even though I've been using it for a few years. So we're reorganizing stuff. The thing that's most important to people that come in as general attendees is the welcome area. And as you can see the way these are set up, we can have an overarching folder, but then everything else under it is at one level. So there's no nested folders like you would see in Windows. You're not going to have something hidden under welcome rules you can't see right now. And if you click on those, you will see a description of the purpose of the channel at the top, and you'll see a pertinent thing that's important. Most of our new people are coming in this space because we've set a default role as attendee to anybody that joins. And then if we know you're a presenter or an admin or a helper, we elevate your status and you show up as another role over here. The most important single file on this server, single channel, is this one right here, help files. This is where we post job aids and help files. You will see these are the roles of people at the convention and who's doing what. So if you see a title, you'll know. This is a nice handy time conversion chart, and you can open it and make it bigger. And I apologize, it is not in great focus, but it's the best chart I've seen anywhere to make it easy for you to cross-track time. All times in the schedule are defaulting to Central Daylight Savings Time. We do have some things going on with our mobile application that will potentially recognize your time zone, but I'm not going to promise that yet. That's why I've got a chart. This is a chart that shows what we just did. We gathered in the green room. You had your producer come and talk to you. You got your link to StreamYard. You start your session, and then the audience will follow you on Discord and our YouTube channel. Okay? Now, the other thing I'll show you very quickly is you'll notice in StreamYard, we also have a chat channel. I know most of you have muted your mic, so if I go too fast or there's something you want me to hit before we all come together and talk again, put that in the chat and I'll answer your questions. This is also our current schedule for training, and there are only a couple of sessions left, which is why we're recording this one so people can see how this is done if they can't have a private session. This is also the tool set we're using to run the convention. You did your registration through Eventbrite, and if for any reason any of you are not formally registered yet, please do so. The second thing we're using is the mobile app that's being developed, and I'll show you that towards the end. That's going to be your gateway to finding things. We have our community hub, which is Discord, where you'll get to communicate with other attendees. StreamYard is what we're in right now and how we're going to show how things are going to work in the future. And then you're going to see the YouTube channel where people can view things. And for some events like the game nights, there'll be unique links. So you might have a Zoom session, you might have a Vassal section. Those will be specifically in the mobile app and on the server announcements. The other thing that's important is we have a Discord help channel, both for text and for voice. And we will have people monitoring to help you with navigation and all the simple stuff in Discord. Going back just a second, there's two other things. This is the link to the mobile app right here. You will be able to click on it now and open another window. But if you do that, just put it to the side. We'll come back and talk about the details of that. We also have a user guide for Discord that one of my friends has put together for the most simple stuff that you can download and look at. And it has some nice screen captures to show you pieces. That's why I say the help file text channel is your most important friend at the convention, other than the mobile app, because the mobile app may mean it that you never have to use it, thankfully. And that was a recent development because we found the right person and the right time mix to be able to provide that. So the way the server is structured, we have the welcome area, and that has the important stuff that we just covered. We also have another area, which is a community channel that's being rebuilt right now a little bit. It's going to change the format, but this is for our Connections family. This is where people can advertise their other Connections events, because there are 5 of them now, where our affiliates like CGSC can post things, where if you've written a book or you've generated a game, you can talk about it here. We have a logo contest that we describe. We also have a suggestion box. And yes, I have some fool that is going to put trivia questions in here every hour for the attendees to have fun with. The other thing, did I hit? Introductions in the welcome area. I should have hit that earlier. You can put a short description of yourself in here if you want, so people know who you are. Most of the people who've done that so far have asked for a 12-step program for wargaming so that they can recover, but I don't think that's in the cards. So moving on down, the next thing we have, I mentioned these voice channels for ad hoc conversations. Then we have the presenters area, which is not visible to most attendees, which is where we're going to usher people into the different broadcast rooms. That's why they're set up with track A, B, and C. Early in the process, we called them 1, 2, and 3, but we found that when we built the event codes, it would work much better to change them to alphas. Now, there's also a conference staff area for the conference staff to deal with special problems. And then down here at the bottom are our events. Now, with the mobile app, you may never have to come to these, but these all have the day, the track, and the central time it's being offered. And when you click on it right now, you can see this is the Wargaming Fundamentals session. And this one here is the Morse Joint session. And there'll be information on how to connect to those that's being populated. Now, in the mobile app, you'll basically be able to click on that and it'll give you a pass-through link. Again, that's being populated. We expect that to all go live about Saturday night. So that's your briefing on Discord. So I'm going to take the Discord screen down. And anybody have any questions? Because that's the Discord part. You're allowed to speak up or put a note in chat. All right, I'm going to press on.
Yeah,
so the next,
I noticed that in the chat channel that it doesn't tell who's pasting it there. It just says CX Wargaming.
The CX Wargaming is the overall server. But repeat your question. I only heard parts of it.
Yeah, well, what I'm noticing is in the StreamYard chat channel, it doesn't say who posted the message. It just says,
don't worry about that. That's the staff-only channel. I mean,
okay.
You can look at it, but it's mostly for us to see what's going on with the server.
Okay, sounds good.
So, Mike, did you turn off your Discord chat?
No, it's still on.
Would you turn it off?
Sure.
We got a little echo from you, that's all. Because the Discord has one control and StreamYard has another.
Yeah, no, I actually have my speakers and my microphone muted in
okay, that's cool.
Discord.
We'll move forward. We're all going all right. So the next thing I want to talk about is what's happening when you start a video program. You guys are going to meet, and you should show up in your green room somewhere around 15 minutes before your session. Your producer should meet you there, and they should say, is everybody here? Because they may not know you all by face or name, but they'll have you know who your panel is or who other speakers are with you, and you'll say, yes, we're all here, hopefully. And they will give you the unique link to your StreamYard session, because every presentation has a unique link, and that's because it will show up separately on YouTube with the scheduled time so that people can see that playlist in advance. That also is so we don't get too wacky in the process, because we're going to have at least, no, let me rephrase this, we will most generally have 3 broadcast channels running at the same time. Some days we'll have 2, and on a few occasions, like the keynotes, we may have only 1. The thing to understand about that is, through the joy of the internet and all the joyful science of doing IT, that essentially, even though you may be a presentation you're interested in that you cannot attend, you will be able to look at it later. That also means that because we're using these Discord text channels, if there's any question that can't be answered live during a show that you attend, or that you're curious after you look at the video, you can ask your question in the text channel, and the people on the panel can answer it at their convenience over the next few days. And we'll leave the server up for a fairly long time, like months, so that people will be able to ask those questions and have continuing conversations. So you're going to meet your producer, they're going to give you your unique link, then they're going to make sure that you all show up here in StreamYard. Now I'm going to give you all a shock because I'm going to show you my screen in StreamYard so you understand how this process works. Because even if you are a presenter, you need to understand the process, because our job is to be as invisible as we can be. You got a lot of regression here, so bear with. These buttons down here for the use of the producer, they have to do with stopping cameras and overall controls. Right now you can see I'm over here in this box in the bottom. If I remove myself, my voice will no longer be able to be. Now, as a producer, my goal is to be invisible during your show, and I'll talk more about that in a second. But I want you to understand they're here because all of this stuff at the bottom is behind the curtain. It's like theater. We're on the side stage behind the curtain, controlling all the ropes and all the weights and all the lights. And this part up here is what the audience sees. This is what's going to YouTube, okay? Now, the way we'll communicate during the show is through chat. There's a private chat channel here in StreamYard. And what will happen during the show is your producer will be off screen and they will give you cues through this chat. So as a person running a presentation, all you need to pay attention to is your presentation in this chat box. If nothing goes wrong, which it does 99% of the time, nothing bad happens, okay? You will be able to communicate by typing in this block. And it's important in another way that I'll cover in a minute. So if you come in to the group and you've all gathered, the process is pretty simple. Your producer's going to say, how do you guys want to run to be sure you're all on the same page? If you're going to do introductions at the very beginning, that's great. Are you going to go speaker 1, speaker 2, speaker 3, or you want everybody up on the panel at one time? Because we have these other joyful things as a producer we can do. I can put all of our headshots up here. And if you have a panel discussion where there's give and take, that might be how you want to do it. If you're giving a presentation, I would normally do this as the method of means. So this is your presentation. And if you verbally say out loud, I'd like to have that at full screen, the producer can do this and you can still talk. These are the two options we normally prefer, but we can do other stuff, okay? What's important to understand is I can remove anybody and I can add you back in. If you are removed from the stream, your voice and picture does not appear. However, when you're doing a large group presentation, we would normally encourage you to all stay on screen the whole time, even if you turn your camera off, because you can turn your camera off. Several of you have, Corinne, for example, and you can customize that logo, because right now, if you didn't have one, you picked up mine. So if you click on this little 3 dots, you can put your own avatar in. So people don't see you picking up your glass and taking a drink between sessions when you're not talking. And you can mute your mic if you don't want to be in the conversation or have any background noise come across. Also, if we have background noise, I can do things like mute individuals. If you've muted your own mic, I can't control it, but I can make it so that you can't talk. So Don, unmute for a second.
Okay.
Say hello.
Hello.
Now try to say hello again. Yeah, nobody can hear him. I control it on this side. Now realize that's got 2 parts, your end and my end. So either one of us can do it wrong. If for right chance I muted him and he shouldn't, he should say, unmute me over here in the discussion. Okay. All right. So when the show is getting ready to start, okay, here's how it works. I'm going to show you some background stuff. We've got all kinds of wonderful brand things. As a producer, you need to check that this tab says CX USA 21, because I do have other channels that I run, okay? And you should check the banners button to see that it looks sort of like this. And if you have any doubt, you should go back to this, go back one level. You saw how I went in to a track and out of a track? Okay. So you should be at this level when you start and pick the track that you're actually broadcasting on. Because if you don't, what's going to happen is two people will be in track A, the show in the X room and you, and these questions can get intermixed. And I'll show you how that works in a second too. Okay. So we've got backgrounds and toggles we can do. If you want to show off, say, thanks to the foundation, you know, if your producer's sharp, they'll pop this up. Thanks to CGSC, you know, and take those on and off screen with a button. This is a wonderful tool set. We also can do different backgrounds. Our default background is this one. If you really want, we can start your show with nobody on the screen and have this on the screen. But normally what we'll do is we'll leave this background up unless you ask for something else. And at the beginning of your show, we're going to wait and we're going to do all our pre-talk. And let's say it's 9 o'clock, you're going to start. So 9 o'clock shows up here and your producer will do this. We got a timer. And when the timer goes on, they're going to start the broadcast up here with the broadcast button. And when
Where
the timer
was that
goes
timer?
off, yeah, I'm sorry.
Where was that timer?
Right here under brand, the brand choice. Because basically our producers are going to use banners and brand and private chat. You normally won't have to touch anything else. Now also for our producers, here's the score. Okay. I'm going to put this in the chat after we go off broadcast, but I'm going to give you all my phone number. So if you get stuck or have a problem, send me a text, because what will happen is I will come into your session as an invisible visitor and coach you from behind the scenes. You probably won't need that, but I want you to know you can reach out to me by text at any time. And as I should have mentioned before we started, you need to mute your phone, both your house phone and any other distractions like close the door, or mute these devices so that we don't accidentally have something come through. But all the producers will have direct access to me, and either myself or one of my other experts, generally it'll be me, will come and help you. In StreamYard, for all of you, if anything goes wrong in your broadcast, like somebody drops out, all you have to do is tell them, and you should do this in the pre-brief, that they just signed back into StreamYard. And the error fixing process is like this. Number one, you sign out of StreamYard and come back. Number two, if that doesn't work, you sign out of StreamYard, you close the tab you were in Chrome or whatever, you open a new tab and come back in. I have only ever seen or heard of that happen in over 200 instances of people running stuff at one of the events. So, done. So, that's your most common thing that'll go on. It normally happens because somebody has a bandwidth problem. The other thing that you're doing when you've gathered, and I should have mentioned this, I got ahead of myself, is you should ask everybody in your panel to share their screens if they have slides ahead of time. So if all of you would like to share some screen, even if it's your home screen, I will show you that you can have those in the background and how we can bounce from one to another, because it's really easy. The plan here is that your producer will be invisible through your entire show unless there's a major problem. And basically, as I said, there's the sign out and sign into StreamYard. Yep. And there's the sign out and close the tab to StreamYard. And the other common problem is somebody has a sound issue, which they have to deal with on their end by changing the speaker or the mic or whatever. And you can see all of my producers, feel free to play with changing the screens now. Just don't take any of us out of the voice discussion, because Corinne right now is out of the voice discussion. Wesley is back in the voice discussion. Mike is back in the discussion. So I want to be sure we can hear one another. Grant, what's your background noise?
I'm not sure.
I'm hearing something like a jet plane or a vacuum cleaner. I will mute you for now. Talk to me in the chat if you need something. Is that okay? Oh, she muted herself. Okay. This mechanism is pretty simple. As I said, you gather together, you talk about how the presentation is going to go, you queue up their stuff so you know that the transmission works, okay? In a pinch, if you have somebody who has a presentation that they just can't broadcast because there's bandwidth or whatever, in the chat you could tell them to email them to you directly, and you as the producer can share another screen and bring it in. There are also some extreme measures that can be done if all that other stuff fails, including me doing a kludge with your cell phone so you can talk to the audience, or that you can still talk to your slides if we have them. But that's where you guys call me. Because if you're in the last 5 minutes of the session, we're not going to do it. If you're in the first 15 minutes of the session, we probably will. We'll try to help you with that process. Excellent. So now we're going to talk about banners. Well, let me hit brand for a second again. In brand, most producers will not want to adjust anything, and for the most part, you'll use this background. Okay? If that background is too busy, you can go to this background. If you want to at the beginning of a show, if the staff or the presenters request it, you can use this nice green one and take everybody out of the picture and have that come up for a second or two and then bring people in. Whatever the presentation team wants, we will try to accommodate. And the simple thing is just, as a presenter, say what you want. If you have the producer running your slide, say next slide. If you have if you go from one speaker to the other and they've got a slide deck, your producer should know, for example, Don has a slide deck. If you tell me Don's our next speaker, I'll just add his slide deck, unless you tell me not to. And you can always tell me the special instructions through private chat. Now, the other role of your producer is to watch what's going on in Discord, so you don't have to. So they'll be out on one of those channels that there's a text channel that relates to your show, and they'll watch for questions. And what they'll do is, in the process, they will take that question, because they can cut and paste it, but I'm just going to type one in, and they're going to say, question 1, what's your favorite color? So you'll know what's in the queue. But what they'll also do is they should take this, and they're going to copy it, and they're going to put it in a banner. Now you say, why do we do that? Well, it's really kind of cool, because the idea is I could put that question right on your screen. So you will see what the questions are ahead of time. You'll be able to say, no, don't do question 1, do question 2. Okay, because you might get a compound question. I had one show I had a week ago where they asked a 3-part question that would take you 15 minutes to answer, and you were in the last 5 minutes of your show. So they said, go to question 2 in the chat, and I just called up question 2. So here we have some samples of the things your producer can and should do during the course of the show. You start your show. The timer starts. You start your pitch when the timer goes off. And of course, your producer hit the record button. At which point, they should bring up on an early screen, welcome to Connections, but not leave it up very long. And then shortly after you've started, they'll bring this up, so we're all at least theoretically protected legally. And then during the course of the show, if you say, we're going to do the first presentation and pause for questions, they will know to give you the first question, unless you told them give me a question 2 or 3 or whatever. So you'll see a question pop up. Or my favorite, you know. Oh, come on. Oh, I made that a ticker. Yeah, that's my favorite. I did that to tease Colonel Lord. All right. So We can do these as tickers, we can do them as headers, but normally your questions are going to be like this. And because we have these categories, see, we have sample banners, okay, and answered questions and unanswered questions. So if you answered your favorite color, they can just move it here. So during the show, you keep track of it. Now, as a producer, if you come into your track banner section and there are questions left from the last section or session, you're allowed to delete them. You know how this works, you know, but we have segregated little banner sections for each track. So hopefully that will happen rarely because people will probably clean up their mess. But if they don't, it's okay. Now, the second thing I want to hit about this process is when you get close to the end of your show, your producers should also be watching the clock and they'll tell you 5 minutes or whatever. But this is not a hard and fast rule. Your session should end naturally. So if you get done early, it's okay. If we run out of questions, it's okay. We just stop recording and move on. Okay? And at the end of the show, your producer should, you know, you'll say, that's all we've got, folks. Thank you so much. They'll hit the end broadcast button, and then they'll come out and talk to you and say, thank you. We're off the air. Everything good. Anybody have anything else? Don't forget to go to Discord and answer questions at your convenience. That's the way this process works. It's not rocket science. Okay? So does anybody have any questions at this point?
So I have one, Merle. So with the YouTube starting the recording, it's just simply hitting that button up in the where right now it says end broadcast, but when it says go live, it's just hitting that, correct?
That's right. After the timer starts, you hit that button and everything's pushed automagically over to YouTube. If, as a producer, you're nervous, and I've never seen it fail, you can open YouTube to our channel, which I will now share so you can see it. Let me do this right because I'm in many screens. Stop that screen. Move this here so you can see it. And share that screen. And there's our YouTube channel. CX_Wargaming. And it has 3 videos already, which are the 3 videos that Matt Caffrey did ahead of time, talking about the origin of connections, what wargaming is good for, and why it's a wonderful thing and everybody needs it. So if you're nervous, you can go out here and start to see your videos going on, but be sure you mute that channel, unlike I did. Okay, so that sound doesn't come through. And as long as you see that it works, you're cool. Life will be fine. You know, nothing to worry about there. The other thing that goes on is there's actually a backup copy made of all these videos on StreamYard. So if for some reason the connection breaks, I have a way to go back and load your presentation. So as long as StreamYard is working, everything else will work. Let me take that off screen. Now, the last thing that I wanted to show you
Hey,
is,
Merle, where's that record button, please?
the record button's up here where it shows in broadcast. Let me come back to the right screen so you can see it.
Okay.
Okay, so see where this in broadcast button is?
Yeah.
When you're in the studio, it starts and says go live. Okay? And right now we're recording this so other people can be trained using the video that we're doing. And when we're done, we'll hit in broadcast.
Okay.
So the important things to remember are go live gets hit after you start your timer, and in broadcast happens after they say goodbye.
And do we have to do anything on YouTube to record, or is this?
It's all going to be done ahead of time. All the settings that need to be done are done ahead of time, and I'll show you that here in just the next second. Because this is the last piece of producer training that you need.
Can I ask one more question? Quick question,
Yes.
Merle, if you can. I noticed that you I think you have 2 monitors going, and in one you have the Discord, and in the other you have StreamYard. How do you do that?
Well, you can do it in Windows too, but basically you just open it in Chrome, because StreamYard runs from Chrome, and YouTube and Discord will run from Chrome, or you can run the native application. I'm running Discord actually with the Discord application loaded to my PC, which is why the screen looks a little different. But for example, okay, let me take you one step further. I mean, I've got layers because I do a lot of screen management. So this is my Discord, right? Guess what's hiding behind it? See all those tabs? This is all my connections related stuff I have to have accessible to me, including the how to fix the application stuff we're working on for the mobile app.
So I have it on tabs and I can flip between one or the other, but you don't have them both up at the same time, right?
No, actually I've got StreamYard on a screen over here to this side of me, and I have Discord on this side of me on a separate screen.
Yeah, so maybe this isn't related at all to that, but I'm not really sure how to do that. It just might be my inability.
You just open 2 instances of Chrome. You go down here and say,
okay,
you know, I want Chrome, new window, Chrome. So see, I just opened a brand new one, and it's hiding on top of the one I just had.
Oh, okay, got it.
And this is it's perfectly okay. We all have different levels of experience. All good. Now, this is the other piece I want to go over. This is important for producers, not so much for presenters. Can you all read that screen?
No, it's too small.
All right, well, I'll try to explain it. This is the dashboard we saw as producers coming in, right? You all recognize that's what it is. So these different lines are different sessions. Those are the presentations. And you can see I'm doing other stuff. I've got 2 presentations this weekend for another convention that are here at the top. And then I've got all these little things with the connections icon that are the training sessions. Like you can see that we're live in this one right here. See the live button's red? Okay. So I'm actually looking at that in another tab. I can actually sign on into this session as myself twice. You don't want to do that, but you can. StreamYard has some really neat features. So the thing is, you're going to see the list of all of the presentations. And if I build it correctly, you will see the next presentations that are queued up at the top of the list, because I haven't built them all yet. So like I built this one here before I built this one here. So I have to build them sort of backwards. If this is the first one, I have to put it in last. And that way, when you guys sign in, you'll be able to look at the top of the list and say, okay, there's 3 here at the top. We're doing 3 shows at the same time. Which one's mine? And enter that studio. And if you want to tell your presenters how to get there, you'll have this open ahead of time and see you do the invite a guest thing, which is hit the 3 buttons, invite a guest, copy the link like that, and then put it in the Discord text so that they know where to come. That lets them come in as guests to your studio. That's the important part for you to shepherd them from one to the other and how to do it. Okay. This is also in a SOP document, which you all should have access to, which is on our massive Google Share Drive, which is the SOP for producers. Now, if I have time, I want to add a couple more pictures, but here's the key. As a producer, this is your role. Make your session participants look good. Be invisible unless it's absolutely necessary. Communicate with the panel in chat about flow, Discord questions, and time remaining. Monitor Discord and post as needed into the banners. And here's the actual steps that you go through that we've just talked about. See where it says mustering speakers, move speakers to StreamYard, verify. You all, if you do not have direct access to this, because you should already have it, I can send you the link and you are allowed to make comments for us to improve it. It's set up with a commenter access. In fact, to make it simple, because I don't care if the general world can comment on this, I am going to put it in the chat channel so everybody in the video will see it. If you click on that link, you have commenter access to my SOP and can tell me, Merle, you need to add or subtract something. There's also an appendix here to show you what the one screen should look like, where I showed you that CX branding at the top. And there's one on setting up some of the other connections to YouTube, but you don't need to worry about it. And here are some samples from a prior convention, and they might still be active, but you can't mess it up because I didn't put in new links yet. So now, going back to this. This is
question.
Yep.
The screen you are showing, how do you get to that?
Basically, you sign into StreamYard as a producer, and you can see this bit here. Presenters cannot get this access. What you do for presenters is you click the button, invite a guest, and copy that address and give it to them.
Okay, I did not see that when I logged in.
Well, that's because you came in with the invite, correct? Because you're not doing a video production.
Okay, so
you don't, the presenters will never need to worry about this. Producers, your video guy that's running stuff behind the curtain needs to know it so they know how to give it to you.
yeah, I'm a producer. That's why I'm making sure I know how to do
If that's the
this.
case, we need to go back when we're done and get you a producer code. In fact, let's back up a step. Can you add or subtract anybody from the stream? You see the stream at the bottom of the screen where it shows all the different players? Wait a minute. Stop this one. Remove this one. Share this one. Stop that one. Share screen. Share screen. Did we lose somebody? It looks like we lost some people. We don't have everybody we had. We don't have Wesley. Let me see if he shows up in Discord.
Wesley noted in chat that he had to go.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Thank you. Keep me out of trouble. So, can you see these buttons as a producer in your screen?
Yes, I can see the mute button row. Is that what you're talking about?
Well,
start cam.
rather
cam
than
mic.
in my shared screen, when I take that off, down on the bottom of your screen, do you still see that thing with a picture of everybody that's on?
Yes.
Underneath the video stream?
Yes.
Okay.
The
So
thumbnails at
remove
the
me
bottom,
for a
Rev.
second. Go ahead and text my name and remove me. That's what we wanted to be sure. So you should see that when you sign on to StreamYard the next time. That's the first thing somebody who's a producer will have visibility of when they open StreamYard and type in StreamYard.com. You'll normally default to StreamYard broadcasts, and that's the folder you'll see. Does that make sense?
Yeah, seeing is believing.
I understand. And you're allowed to play with it. You can even make it the presentation screen here so that we can see what you're doing.
Okay. When I do that, that is the first thing I see.
Okay.
When I type in StreamYard.
Yep. And you can open StreamYard in multiple tabs. So like I said, I had that open on the side while we were doing the other stuff. That's actually open on my other screen over here. So the big thing is, if you go into the wrong studio, just excuse yourself and leave. If you click the wrong one, don't ever hit go live unless you're sure you're in your own studio. If you ever have a doubt, Merle's available by text and can bounce around anywhere because whatever. You know, I'm not perfect, but I will provide a high level of support and know how to do it. So, you know, feel like you've got a shortstop that can help you. Does this all make sense to everybody?
It makes sense to me, but could you just go through one more time how you got to the screen that you had previously? Because I missed
how I got to the broadcast list. Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll do this step by step. All right, I will share this screen with my massive collection of tabs. because I have all this stuff going on. I will then start a new tab, and I will type in, helps if I learn to type someday. And I pick broadcast because I've already signed in before. So that gives me that screen when I first sign into StreamYard.
Got it.
That should happen the same way to you, and I will make it bigger so you can see it.
Yeah, that happened when I first signed in. I just didn't know you need to open another tab to do it. So that's fine.
So if you've already opened the broadcast studio, so you're confident you're in the right place as the guy running it, then you can always open another tab and grab the link for your guests. Okay? It's not rocket science, but it's a matter of just getting familiar with it. It's like knowing where you put the pots and pans in your kitchen and know what cabinet door to open. It's really not a complex process. So let me take that down to a reality size screen and stop the share. Yeah, okay. So, oh, I need to share again. I'm a bad Merle. Okay, back to share. Bad Merle. Because I want to show you the phone app. There are two. There's going to be one for producers that we'll send you a special link to, which will help you figure out what sessions you're supposed to cover. This is what it would look like on a phone or on a web page, and we can do something like look for all Dons. Oh, it doesn't show that detail there. Let me do this a different way. Let's do. Now this is not all populated, so we'll see if it works. Yep. See, we've already listed what ones they've scheduled you for. So you'll be able to hit this little heart, and you'll get your own private schedule. Just like we were a big, important conference that had great tools. Okay? And you can scroll through every event this way. Now, this is a producers-only app that we're going to have to help you schedule yourself. And like I said, all this stuff should be done by Saturday. If worst comes to worst, we've got manual lists, and you can reach out to James or me or Mike or somebody like that and say, where am I on the schedule again? I don't remember. It's okay. But this is meant that we'll be able to send to all of you, and you'll be able to have an easy way to tell. This is the mobile app that's going to go to attendees. And that's the one that there's the link to in the Discord chat channel that we looked at. It's also in Discord Help, and it's in the chat channel for Green Room A that we did just a minute ago. It looks pretty much the same, only it's going to have the descriptions of all the events. Now notice here the way this works. We have navigation buttons on the bottom. There's a welcome button that goes to our home page, and that's going to have an update with instructions for users that this is how you use the app. This is if you haven't registered. This is all that stuff, because Sham is working on that right now. We have a slightly different setup for game nights because they have different kinds of links. But see, we have nice pictures. We have stuff. We're going to have all the links populated. It says how many people and how to contact folks. So I can click on each one. We look like a big conference now. It's scary. Then we have game labs, which are a little different. Game labs have a time block in the schedule. And this spreadsheet's here because you get to pick which one of 7 or 8 you're going to be in on day 1 and which one of 7 or 8 you're going to be in on day 2. We're probably going to get some questions in Discord about how that works, but we'll deal with that. And then the working groups, which we're starting to populate. You can see the descriptions in the Zoom links. And of course, we used a generic poster for now. And you can always go up here, and there'll be a how to use the app section. So he's working on the narrative for that. There's bios of all the speakers. See, we looked this guy up. But if you gave us a bio, we got a bio. Pretty cool, huh? And there's an about page. And come on now. Where'd he hide it? He was going to add, and I don't see it yet, a suggestions or questions page, a way people can ask in the app for help, not just on the Discord channel. Again, this is what I call the just-in-time delivery system, because The person with all this skill got to join the team a little later than planned. And we have basically done all of this in 7 days. The joy is because we have a skilled developer and a skilled guy who used to manage IT projects, we talk the same language, and we did what would normally take at least 6 weeks if we threw away all the required paperwork. So it hopefully will make this a much more enjoyable convention for people than to try to teach them through discussions how to navigate up and down this whole scrolling system. So we're trying to make it better, and it's almost the just-in-time delivery system type thing. So see, somebody's put in somebody's having fun. That's the link for the video station. He's doing work while we talk. So does anybody have any questions? Because the last thing I'm going to do is hand out my phone number after we're off air. This is your big chance. Going once? Twice? Okay. So I'm going to end the broadcast. You can see that we've hit the